Episode 9, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to Real 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hype. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you. Inspiration like every day. Real 45, we gon' keep it live. I keep episodes on replay. Hey, Real 45. Yeah, Real 45. Show them how we do it, man. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. The Real 45 podcast. I'm here with Steph and Janelle. I'm Greg Hancock, by the way, in case you didn't know, in case you care. So, hey, Stefan, what's happening over there?
Hey.
Ooh, it's all happening.
Oh, yeah, everything is happening. It's soon Christmas. So it's... we're out and catching Christmas presents and trying to fix everything at work before Christmas, because then everything dies, doesn't it? Everybody is on their holiday.
I know, it's pretty cool like that. But you're catching, or you're getting Christmas presents, you're getting all that stuff. Are you catching any snowballs? Is probably more the question. Are you catching any snowflakes, I should say? If you're catching snowballs, you're having a fight.
Exactly. No, there is no snow over here. It's icy, but no snow. Not at all, actually.
That's a shame. When's the last time you guys had a white Christmas in Sweden? Has it been a few years?
Yeah, I don't know, but I saw on Facebook a friend put up a picture with like 1.5 meter maybe on the balcony for 6 years ago.
Oh.
You know, the picture was with all this snow, and he stood in his underwear and making a barbecue.
In the snow. That's how a true Viking does it. So you have to stand in your underwear on the balcony in the snow and have a barbecue.
And look happy.
Was it daytime or nighttime when he took that picture?
I think it was night.
Oh, that says it all.
Yeah.
So that was a really, maybe they were just barbecuing hot dogs around like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
The after party.
But there was the after party. But talking about barbecues and smoke, how is it in California? I heard about the fires.
Yeah, you can say that again. That's a whole other subject. While we're on that subject, I guess it's been, as you all know, I'm over here in California. Stefan's still sitting there in Sweden, and the weather here has been unusually warm. We tend to get these really warm winds that kind of blow offshore. They're called Santa Ana winds here in California, and the air gets really dry, and it gets this really warm wind blowing. We're already in quite a drought here. It's not great. Everything's just brown, and it's a shame because we need rain really bad. So all it takes is somebody to awkwardly throw out a cigarette or some initial thing kicks off a fire, and in a field somewhere, the side of the freeway or something like that. And then you end up with these massive fires and the heavy winds. I mean, the winds are blowing at like 70 up to 70 miles per hour, which is like 120 Ks or something for you guys. And I don't know how many meters per second that is, but it's pretty fast. And when these flames start burning like that, and they start getting pretty hot, and the wind picks it up and carries these burning ashes, and then it spot fires in different places. And we saw so much devastation this last week from the Ventura County area through Ojai right down into the just north of LA to where it's burning there and destroying homes, destroying resorts. It's just so sad. And now more recently down in San Diego here, another one has picked up, and it's a shame because even now we got a little bit of smoke haze in the air, and you can smell smoke here and there periodically. And I'm typically from the LA fires up there north of LA there. I'm about 75 to 80 miles away from some of these. And down in San Diego, I'm almost 100 miles away from those, but we're getting the effects of the smoke and the smell is coming periodically here. So it's a real shame for all the people that, you can't even imagine. Their lives are completely turned upside down in a matter of minutes from when this fire reaches, their house or their area there, and they're evacuated, and then it just destroys everything, their whole family memories, and it's all gone. And most of them seem to play a pretty good role in it. And as disappointed as they are, on what they've showed on TV, some of these people are, we're always trying to be inspiring here, but they are very inspiring, because they're like, well, what can we do? It's just one of those things that happens. And yeah, we've lost everything. We got to start again. And they put on a real brave face, but it must be so hard.
Yeah, it seems really scary. But the community, they help each other, or how does it work?
It's been unreal. And in times like this, that's what's great about people, in general. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I think the communities come together, and Americans are pretty good like that too. They tend to, in a time of need or disaster, they tend to really come together and help each other. And obviously the Red Cross is heavily involved too. So there's been a lot of shelters put up. There's been a lot of people offering, places for people to come and stay. They're without homes now and trying to get restarted or just regroup, so to speak. So it's fantastic. But I think the firefighters are the ones, you see this all over the internet, and people, just saying how lucky and fortunate we are to have the firefighters. And these guys, they must be working 24/7 nonstop at the moment, just trying to keep things going. And we owe a lot to them. It's quite amazing what they do for us and try to do for us in so many cases.
Absolutely. What an amazing work. But the area is quite big too, all of the fires.
Yeah, these fires are, it's over 150,000 acres that have burned approximately to date, and a number of homes. I don't even want to say they're staggering, but the last report was 150 that I saw, and I know it's more than that now, but you can't fathom what these people are going through. It's awful, and it is scary, because we're kind of in this little circle, and you think, oh, I'm not in a fire danger area, but you've seen what this fire has done with the winds carrying the ash so far away from one spot to another. It can just pick up on a rooftop somewhere, and that kicks off another fire. And if the firefighters can't get to that quick enough, then you can imagine how big these communities are. And there's a lot of, everything's built out of wood over here. So, and it's dry. It goes fast. It's a massive setback for a lot of people, and those are the kind of setbacks that some people can't recover from, but most of the people seem to be quite positive, and hopefully there's enough support out there that they're going to get a chance to recover and try to, just move on.
Yeah, hope everything will be good for all of them. They can find new homes and get help.
Exactly. Yeah, fingers crossed, and again, people really do come together. So it is a scary world out there. Be careful with your flames, and you're throwing your cigarettes out or just playing with fire. It's definitely, as you're taught from a young age, you shouldn't play with fire.
No, absolutely not. But talking about setbacks, how you handle setbacks?
Setbacks in my racing, you mean, huh?
Yeah. Talking.
Yeah, from one thing
from one thing to another.
Yeah, for sure. I can understand. Yeah, for sure. We all have to deal with setbacks in so many different aspects. And looking at this, for me, a setback of racing, I really can't complain in most cases. And this particular setback, having to, I know we've discussed this already, but talk about setbacks in racing, in life, gosh, you can either just stick your head in the sand and just kind of see what happens and try to pretend like nothing ever happened. But in some cases, it's a matter of digging deep and try to recover. Nobody really, you can't look for pity or sympathy, because deep down, all I want to do is get back on the bike and go racing and go win. And that's what people do. You when you're devoted, it's, luckily this is just a setback, and I can recover from it. I have the chance and the ability to make a full recovery, which I'm going to do. And I'm going to be, back in action in the months ahead. So it's a massive mental game, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah. In the last episode, we talked about you're always the happy guy. You have the grin on and always positive. But this is something that we don't talk about so much, the setbacks and how you handle it and how it works. Because there's just days between races. And one day you can have a real setback, and then the next day is a new race.
That's true.
So you have to handle it quite quick.
Yeah, it's, you don't have time to think. You don't have time to adjust or try to figure out a plan. How am I going to do this? Sometimes I almost prefer it like that, when you have the next day is something new, whether it's a setback from an injury or it's a setback of a mechanical failure or a technical failure, or just you had a bad day. Those kind of setbacks there's such a wide range of how you have to try to test yourself. And for me, it's almost better to have a race again as quickly as possible. The very next day, the very next week. Next week is almost too far away, but if you look at it this way too, it's almost like when you fall down on your bicycle as a kid from a young age. If you fall down and you scrape your knee and you get up, and you're like, your parents they're always overcautious and trying to protect you. But if they're too overly pitiful and give you too much sympathy, that feels like that recovery can take so long to come back from it, Otherwise you can walk down, hey, it's just a scratch, get up, oh, you're okay, no worries, come on, let's get on the bike again, get on the bike and get pushing yourself around there. And once if you can manage to get them back on the bike and do another 5 minutes or 10 minutes or even 1 minute back on the bike and ride around, to let them know that, hey, it's okay to crash, it's okay to hurt yourself, you can, as long as you can get up and get going, you got to get up and get going, and don't waste that valuable play time or that valuable time total, and get over it. The quicker you can get over it, the better. Otherwise, like anything, like a relationship, right?
Yeah, that's in the theory. But your dad and Wilbur has started to go for speedway. How do you handle that? When he has setbacks, and do you do that, as you said right now, or you're the dad that says, "Oh, sorry"?
It's a good question, because in the situation like Wilbur and I have, and obviously my dad and I too, you see this in so many different sports. Whether it's Little League football or it's soccer, your football, and anything like that. You can see the father sons or the families, the parents, that they can really make life difficult for their kid and for the team and for the overall experience. But my dad was always so good. If I look back on it now, I was probably such a jerk to him, because he never raced himself, but he had been around the sport, and he just, like my wife says about my dad, he's like a natural born teacher, and kids are so attracted to him because he's so easygoing, and he just seems to have such a fantastic outlook on life, on dealing with situations. He just is so positive, and so, I don't know, he just has a natural way of just letting you know, hey, it's all right, no big deal. That's how it goes. Sometimes it's tough, but next time try like this, do like that, and just always sees a positive way to get around it. So when I look back on it now, and I think we had our tough times, and we had at one point where we had to just break away from each other, but he was always quick to come back and, hey, that's all right, you fell down, get back up, fix it again, we'll get rolling. And now he's doing the same with Wilbur. And
so he's involved.
Yeah. And I just try to do everything I can to keep him motivated, to keep Wilbur, with a good, positive frame of mind. And my dad, I kind of step back and put Wilbur, just push him with my dad to let him go, because I can see my dad is getting as inspired with it as Wilbur is. It's almost like my dad is just restarting this whole career with me again. And Wilbur has so much respect for him. Whatever Grandpa says, he's got, his eyes are big, his ears are big, and he does it. So he trusts Grandpa, and I don't understand how that works. Dad's just a natural, and I sit back and watch, and I learn, and I just try to be supportive and just wait for Wilbur to come to me, because I don't, with my racing world, and I know probably too much, and I'm still learning so much, but I don't want to tell him too much unless he asks. And right now I'm lapping it up because Wilbur has respect for me too, and he still comes to me and asks me questions. And why do you do this on the bike? And why do you do that? And when you go into the corner, you ride like this. And why do you do that? And why does that guy do that? So I really love that. And I think, oh man, okay, I want to answer this in a way that I'm talking to a different kid, not my kid, and explain it to him. But I can see that he's just a sponge. He is looking for information all the time. So we had this case in practicing the other day that Dad and I were helping Wilbur to fix everything up on his bike and get him riding well. And we made a few changes, and the track was a little bit hard for him to ride, and he made a mistake that he ended up spinning the thing around, and he fell down. Not a hard fall, just an easy crash. But he got so frustrated, and he was looking for every reason why he crashed, rather than looking that he made a mistake himself. He was looking for a reason that it was something to do with the bike, because we made changes. And and there was people there watching and checking it out, so he got embarrassed and change the bike back, do this, do that. I don't like it like this. And in the end, I just kind of had to take a deep breath and look at my dad and think, how would he approach this, And I just said, okay, listen, buddy, things are different. This track is different now. It's late in the day. It's been really dry, and it's quite hard packed, real slippery on the outside. And then there's like this blue groove, we call it, on the inside, where the track starts when the tires are spinning, they tend to lay rubber on the track. So you get this rubber groove going around where everybody rides all the time. And that can be quite sticky when the tires get hot, and like your tire gets like gum when it's really warm. It's really sticky. So when that sticky part meets the rubber part of the track, it can be a lot of traction. You get a lot of grip and a lot of pull. And then you go off over that part of the track and you go onto the loose, dry material, and it's like ice. So you go from like full grip to full ice, and it's pretty hard to recover in an instant. And he hasn't had that experience yet. So he had that just happen to him, and that hit the slick part, and he just spun it around and ended up on his butt. He didn't get hurt, nothing happened, but he couldn't figure out why. And he was sure that it was something with the bike. So I had to kind of, in a very diplomatic way, explain to him that I don't think the changes we made caused you to crash. If you look at the track here and it's like this and it's like that, and if you kick on this part of the track with your tennis shoe, you can feel it's really sticky. But if you kick here on the dirt, it's really slippery. And you went from one extreme to the other, and you're not experienced enough yet to understand how to control the bike. So you have to just step back and feel that suddenly now you see the difference. You can see there's this big black blue kind of dark groove. And then it's like light colored sand on the other side. So you'd see that it's two different tracks in one. So when you're crossing over from one line to the other, you need to be ready for that and think that I have to work the throttle to control the bike very steadily as I move over from the grip to the slick. And maybe this is hard for some guys to understand if you don't ride bikes, but as a drifter, as we are sliders, you have to be very controlled with the throttle, and that's how you steer the bike. It's not just about going full gas and steer it with the handlebars. You play with the throttle because it's controlling how much wheel spin you get on the back wheel. So in a nutshell, he figured it out, and I said, listen, just start over, go really slow, go around the track really slow, because it's harder to ride going slow when you know how to ride. It's easier to ride going fast. So let's go back to going slow and go around just outside of that groove a little bit and stay away from it, and then pull yourself back on it later, and you'll see what I mean. And the kid's got so much heart and belief and love for the sport that he he gritted his teeth and he did what I said. And I just kind of stood on the outside and said, go around me. I'll stand right here and just go around me, not full gas, just go at an easy pace so you feel comfortable. And in the end, he started to build the speed. And then he figured it out and did it so perfect. And the smile on his face when he took his helmet off in the end of the practice was enough for me. So that was the way to get over one quick setback.
Wow. I mean, that's how you should do it. Just pass the experience forward.
You can only try, right? And hopefully that the one you're trying to pass it to has the interest in hearing what you have to say. And many of them just think you're, you're just talking the talk. But those are the ones who probably aren't looking for that information. They're just bouncing ideas off you. However, in this case, it's more of the kid really wanted to learn something and he didn't just fly off the handle. He wanted to, but he found a way to grasp the moment and he fixed it. So that gives me hope that he's gonna be good at dealing with all sorts of situations in the future. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, what is your biggest setback? Can you take one moment or one thing that happened?
I don't know to say the biggest setback. That's hard to say because you've been.
Or maybe if I rephrase it, maybe the biggest setback that your dad actually helped you with, that you can remember that this was a big thing that my dad told me, or.
There's a couple of things that stand out in my mind of setbacks. The racing part, he always tried to explain to me, and now I see it even more today. So I have even more respect for Dad than I already did. But he always tried to explain things in a certain manner just to help you. And sometimes, you get so frustrated, and I see this in Wilbur, but Wilbur has got a little bit more natural ability to just go, okay, I get it. Where I probably got to the point where I'm looking at my dad like, what do you know? And I still
never ride
exactly. And he's ridden motorcycles, of course, but he had never raced speedway. So I got to that point where I've been listening to all my heroes tell me, and then my dad's trying to tell me the same thing they are, but because he's my dad, of course, what do you know? So,
of course,
but. I look at it in that sense that he was trying to explain it to me, and we had a few various situations over the years, and the hardest one now, when you put it like this, is he always wanted me to be good in school, don't do drugs, don't drink alcohol, and stay focused on what you're doing. And in this case, I remember one time that we had a big fight and he didn't like what I was doing outside of the sport. And he basically said, that's it. I'm done. You're on your own. And I'm thinking, what? Oh. And my mom and dad were split up at that stage too. And he was like, no, you're on your own. If you're going to be like that, do it yourself. If you know so much. And that's where my big brother came in. So having him around, he was trying to, he basically took over and helped me to make sure I got my bikes in line and take care of things on my own at the track. And this was in a very short period, I was in my last year of racing in the 250 and the junior speedway. And
how old were you?
15. So
15.
Yeah. And I remember that was the moment that Dad and I had our separation from father-son racing in the pits, working together sort of a deal. And my brother took over and helped me get things going. And we worked it out. We figured it out. And my dad was still there watching me and supporting, but he just wasn't directly in the pits. And that was the first setback that I had to learn how to deal with it on my own. And rather than just sitting back and, I just went, okay, now I have to figure out how to do this. And if I hadn't had my brother there to help me to understand, because he's been through all sorts of stuff, being 5 years older, and he knows what setbacks are. So he kind of just, Dad just wants you to do the right thing, and he doesn't want you to screw up, and he's just trying to teach you, So he didn't do anything wrong. You probably didn't do anything wrong either, but he wants to make sure that you understand that it's not an easy thing to do by yourself. And when you think you know everything, suddenly you get a quick slap in the face. So I learned,
but that made you
learn quick.
It made you grow, or did you learn? What was the biggest lesson?
I remember it like yesterday. So I definitely learned a lesson. So I learned you can't sit back and look for sympathy or pity for one reason. And I also learned that all he was trying to do and get me to understand that, you can take criticism in one way, you can take it in another way, and you can get angry. And sometimes you shouldn't speak before you think. But everybody's different, and that's okay. However, I probably rattled his cage enough where I was gave him the old "what do you know" kind of thing, and he just went, "Okay, we'll see how much you know by yourself." And then you realize, I do need Dad. I need him around, and he was always there after that. But he realized then that, okay, maybe this is the time to. I'll always help. He'll always help me if I ask for it. But he waited for me to ask. And then I always thought, I have to do this by myself. I have to show them I can do this by myself. And that's where I did. I mean, we're all different, but it worked in many ways. And there's no regrets, and I don't have any. That was one of the biggest lessons in life for me, as if it started with a setback, it turned out to be a very, very positive thing. And I thank Dad for that.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. But talking about people that you have around you, all the stuff you have and the mechanics, and when you have a setback, do they affect you?
I think of course they do. They affect you in so many ways. And Rafael, my lead mechanic, I have learned so much from him in so many ways. We come from different worlds. He's Polish, and he's, when I listen to his life stories and how he grew up, and I can't even imagine the way, we're so different in the period that he grew up and the period that I grew up, in the different worlds, and how hard it is to work, and some of the crazy setbacks and the things that have happened with him, around him during his growing up periods. He's had to deal with some setbacks, and he's very quick to we have to get over this. You can't sit and think about it. You can't dwell on it. You can't be like this. You can't be like that, because what's it going to do? What's it going to do for you? You're still going to be sitting here tomorrow and next week and next year and next month, or, in 10 years, if you sit here and just continue to think about it. Or you can just get over it and move on and defeat it and learn from it, be better. And those are some of the greatest things that I've learned or had them around. So of course they've affected me. And sometimes you have to go back and realize why you did it like this and did it like that in the hard time. But I'm a firm believer from what I've learned there that you need to get over things as quick as possible. The longer you drag them out, the longer it's going to take to recover, and then some.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. I have a hard time to get over things sometimes. But you said that before to me, so I'm trying to think about that, because you're like, just get over it. Look forward.
For sure.
And that helps a lot. So that's, yeah.
Well, we all got to be positive, right? So
exactly.
Through the negatives, we try to find the positives and find the energy and just really move on. So did you hear that going on in the background there? Didn't that sound like that I was in the toilet or something?
It did, but I didn't know what it was. So I didn't
have to bring it up because I heard it and I was thinking it was you. Did you go into the toilet while we were talking?
I can't get the big ass mic with me
because this could be a real setback. I'm trying to find out how to get over the fact of thinking that maybe you just decided to go relieve yourself in the toilet right in the middle. We're talking about setbacks, and I thought, does he really care what I'm saying right now? He's in there.
No, I'm just going to the toilet. And you can just talk.
No, actually, I think it was the dishwasher in the background that was draining there. So Anyway.
Anyway, yeah, maybe we should just say thank you right now and go forward and look forward to the next episode.
I would say so too. And interesting question there about setbacks. And it's always fun to talk about this stuff because you just remind me of all the life experiences. It's fantastic. So yeah, hey, always great to talk to you. And I'm going to be talking to you a heck of a lot more.
Oh, yeah. So thank you all for listening, and see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe to for Real 45 at iTunes, Acast, Podbean. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Real 45 Podcast. And subscribe and rate us, please, because that helps us a lot.
Absolutely. And share it, guys. You got to share that Real 45 podcast with all your friends, and we're going to make it even better as we go.
Absolutely. Greg, see you next week.
You got it, Stefan. You take it easy. Good talking to you. See you guys, everybody. Have a great week. Keep it sideways and grin to win.
Grin to win.
Welcome to Real 45 with Stefan and Greg Hancock. We vibe out and have real talk, so tune in and check this out. Yeah, today is a new day. Let's seize it now and get hype. We talking about our careers, our family, and just life. Yeah, share my story with you. Inspiration like every day. Real 45, we gon' keep it live. I keep episodes on replay. Hey, Real 45. Yeah, Real 45. Show them how we do it, man. Yeah.